got you. I'm Hank. Welcome to Hamiltonville Farm. Should you get a two-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive? Let's find out. Hey everybody, I've got Derek with me. Derek, I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for letting me come out and do your tractor. And so me and Derek actually started talking through the Mahindra Tractor Owners group on Facebook, and that's how we met. We actually live fairly close to each other. And so I knew he had a two-wheel drive, so I was like, Derek, do you mind if I come up here and film your two-wheel drive 4540? And he was gracious enough to have us up here to do that. So thanks a lot, Derek. We appreciate it, man.
No problem. I'm glad to have you.
So let me ask you, a lot of people are in the market for, you know, a 40 horsepower range tractor, and they're thinking about two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. And so what was your thought process, or what drove you to make the decision to buy a two-wheel drive tractor?
Ultimately, it came down to price.
Okay, sure.
Obviously, I was in the market for a four-wheel drive tractor, looking and comparing John Deere, Kubota. I always circled back around and came back to the Mahindra due to mainly their weight, their power, their lifting capacities.
Gotcha.
For this class. It came down to ultimately price and what was I doing with the tractor.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
We've got just under 13 acres here, so it's not a huge crop farm. Mainly going to be bush hogging, keeping up my driveway,
right,
and, you know, little projects.
Yeah, I tell you, man, this is the Mahindra does make a heavy tractor, especially compared to the other competitors. Have you thought about or come into a circumstance where you think, man, I wish I would have got a four-wheel drive?
There's been a time or two in the back part of our property. We've got an area that does stay wet normally.
Okay.
It's fairly dry now, so you just have to be extra careful when you're down in there. Realize that it's not a four-wheel drive, so I have to be careful having the front end loader to be able to push yourself back if you do.
Good point, yeah.
The main thing is just watching. When your tires start spinning, don't keep gunning.
don't keep digging the hole.
That's right.
Yeah.
It does have the rear locking differential, which helps. So if you notice that you start to lose a little traction, you can get on that, and it'll help you get out of those tighter areas.
Yeah, both tires pull back. Two pulls better than two, or one. Two pulls better than one is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, you make a good point. You know, I think that's a lot of times where people get into the mistake of treating, like you mentioned, I think is an excellent point. You treat it like a four-wheel drive when it ain't, and then not knowing when to stop. So it's like me eating donuts. I just don't know when to stop, dude. You know, and But anyway, well, cool. Now you use this tractor for bush hogging. Have you hooked a box blade up to it yet?
I have not had a box blade on it.
Okay.
I did pull a chisel plow to help my neighbor cut a pasture he was going to plant. And it pulled it great.
Oh yeah, good.
It was a 6-foot chisel plow.
Right. We're going to go over the specifics of the tractor and talk about some of the differences between the two-wheel drive model and the four-wheel drive model, and hopefully it helps you make a better decision when you're buying a tractor of your choice. Start at the front of the tractor and work my way back. The differences between the two-wheel drive and the four-wheel drive 4540 there's some, not vast, but there are some. Like one, you're going to have a more narrow, a more shorter, I don't know what the technical term is, shorter, more narrow, and lighter tractor than the four-wheel drive. It's about 13 inches shorter, and it's also about 13 inches more narrow, and I think it's about 1,000 pounds overall lighter than the four-wheel drive. And of course, when you add the bigger front end and the bigger tires and stuff on the four-wheel drive, that accounts for that weight. But again, it's still heavier class tractor than some of the competitors, but when you compare the two-wheel drive to the four-wheel drive, it is a little lighter. Now, one advantage you'll have with the two-wheel drive is that it turns sharper than the 4-wheel drive. So if you're looking into, if you're doing some row crops or something like that, and you're looking for, you know, you get to the end of the road and you need to make a sharp turn to come back, this 2-wheel drive will actually turn sharper than the 4-wheel drive. So that's something that you can take into consideration as well. One big difference is, now they all lift about the same. The lifting capacity is not that much different than the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive. I think it's about 3,500 pounds in the back on the hydraulic system, but and I think it's literally like 2 pounds difference between the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive. But one thing is different, and this actually, I don't know why Mahindra did this, but they did it. The 2-wheel drive has a sliding mesh transmission, and the 4-wheel drive has a continuous mesh transmission. You know, from a assembly line economical business decision, I think they would have put the same transmission in all the tractors where, you know, the same parts fit the same tractor. But, you know, hey, I don't make those decisions for Mahindra, right? But a sliding mesh, so you have what they call a sliding mesh transmission in the 2-wheel drive. I'm not a mechanic, don't claim to be a mechanic, but I do know that a sliding mesh transmission is kind of the old school style, where, think of it as helical, all right? I don't really know what that word means, but I think it means sphere, right? So you have these 2 gears that are, I keep talking about donuts in this video, right? But think of a donut with teeth, right? You have a donut with teeth and a donut with teeth. Well, that slides together and then they mesh, sliding mesh, all right? And then the continuous mesh, think of it as a drill bit type system, where it's or cylinder, I guess you would say, where they constantly mesh as they're on the upper and lower shafts together. And so that's going to give you a little, the constant mesh is a little more forgiving in the 4-wheel drive. You have to be a little more, but you do have some different noises associated with that. But the 2-wheel drive has these sliding mesh transmissions, where double clutching is a popular option when you're changing gears and things like that. So that's one difference there. So let's keep walking down the tractor here. One thing I want to point out as we continue to move back to the rear end of the tractor is the front tires. Now these front tires have the center groove here, or the center lug, I guess you would say. It has a crowning effect, and so if you put a lot of weight in your bucket, this tire tends to dig into the ground, making it more difficult to turn left or right. And so what me and Derek were talking about earlier is how some people actually opt to put a more truck type tire or a more radial type flat tire on the front of these tractors, because it allows you to turn easier left and right when you have weight on the axles. And talking about these axles, this front axle here obviously doesn't, it's the 2-wheel drive version, which takes me to my question of the day. My question of the day is, would you rather have a 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive tractor? Let me know in the comments below. There's an application for a 2-wheel drive and a 4-wheel drive, so depending on your property type, you may want to go with a 2-wheel drive tractor. Let's keep working our way back. Again, the 2-wheel drive will come with the R1 style tractor tires on the back. And again, this is for like row cropping and things of that nature. And you have to think about what you're going to use this for. Make sure that you're not getting into situations. I think Derek made a really good point earlier about don't think this is a 4-wheel drive tractor and you'll be fine. And then of course there's the lifting capacity in the back on the 3-point system is about the same as the 4-wheel drive, only a couple pounds difference. But Mahindra does not have a backhoe option for the 2-wheel drive. So if you're looking to for a backhoe, you'll need to go with the 4-wheel drive. I'm not sure if an aftermarket backhoe will fit on these. So if you know, like if a Titan Attachments or another brand of 3-point backhoe type attachment would work on a 2-wheel drive, let me know in the comments, because I have no idea. And so you'll help us all make you'll help us all learn if that's a true statement or not. Thanks a lot, Derek, for having me up here, man. I appreciate it. So I just, you know, is there anything you would do different, or a decision you would have made now that you got the 2-wheel drive? Or
For what I'm doing with it, I'm happy with it.
Right on.
Ready to get it working, do some bush hogging, clear a little bit of our property out. Happy to have it. Good.
So, hey, listen, you know, Derek was really cool enough to let us come up here and film. We appreciate that. As always, there's going to be a little white barn icon pop up over here. If you click on that, it'll take you to our subscribe page, and we would love for you to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you watching the video, and as always, you guys take care. We'll see you on the next one.